What's up, everyone? Welcome into the Cannonballs podcast. As always, I'm one of your hosts, Dame Cannon. Co-hosting with me today is
your boy, Jake Motherfucking Bulls on the more. Sorry. Was good, y'all.
God damn it. Anyway, guys, we got a good episode for you today. We're going to be recapping Monday Night Football of Week 15 of the 2022 NFL season. We will be doing each of our power rankings. We'll be comparing our picks. And then we will end this episode with a Thursday night prediction for Week 16 of the 2022 NFL season. If you guys aren't already, like, comment, subscribe, follow us on our Instagram. It's our main form of social media, Cannonballs with a Z_podcast. You know, Jake will upload reels. We'll do a little bit of bonus content for you guys there. If you guys want to shout us out. Jeez, I can't even talk. Shout us out, you know, get us out there a little bit, talk to us, talk shit, whatever. Do it. We want it. So, Jake, do you have anything to add?
We welcome it.
Yeah, do you have anything to add before we get started?
No, not really. I mean, I guess we just get right into Monday night. I'm sure earlier in the season when they were making the schedule, I'm sure this looked like a primo matchup, but if you don't know, you know, the entire Rams team is just hurt. They are officially out of the playoff race. There's officially not a chance for them to repeat. So,
First
you know,
team since 2003 Buccaneers to do it. Be a Super Bowl champion and have a losing record the following year.
That's Yep, that's what happens, I guess, when injuries and poor team management. No, I mean, we'll get into the game. It was, kind of boring, I would say. Both these offenses kind of struggled a little bit. Aaron Rodgers looks like Aaron Rodgers this year is about the same, kind of missing people. He looked a little bit better. Unfortunately, I needed Christian Watson to have a big game for my fantasy team, but he did not. And he kind of got locked up. He had a couple receptions here and there, but, definitely nothing special like it has been for him the last couple weeks. Romeo Doubs, came back into this game and
looked pretty decent.
He looked like what he looked like at the beginning of the season before he got hurt. So, welcome back, Romeo Doubs. They have kind of a young trio of receivers with Old Man Cobb, as a fourth option. But, I really don't have much to say about this game. The defenses, kind of had some turnovers. Baker, looked like this was his second week in the offense. He was making some plays here and there, but
you could tell it wasn't clicking as well.
He didn't have that magic from last week when he beat the Raiders. So it kind of ran out. But I mean, he did make some throws, but I mean, he's an NFL quarterback, so you expect him to do that. What was I going to say about the Rams? Oh, their run game looked pretty decent.
Cam Akers.
They kind of got it going.
Cam Akers looked pretty decent tonight. I feel like both defenses kind of showed up to make big plays here and there. An interception, a couple fumbles. It was interesting. I don't necessarily think that this was a boring game by any means. I just think because there weren't any playoff indications. I mean, keeping the playoff hopes alive, I guess, for Green Bay, but it wasn't like a big time game just because of the records of these two teams. So it wasn't as impactful, I think, in my opinion, but it was still entertaining. Aaron Rodgers, like you said, he kind of, I don't know, he looked a little bit better, in my opinion. I feel like this offense got going a little bit better than it has been recently, but it still wasn't the typical Aaron Rodgers that we're used to by any means. There were a couple missed throws, sacks taken, just didn't look necessarily that pretty, but I feel like A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones helped him out a little bit with the run game. And, the defense kind of bailed them out and got after Baker Mayfield. And I think that was kind of the same case for the Rams defense. They got after Aaron Rodgers a bit. So, It was still a somewhat entertaining game, but good win for the Packers. You know, they needed it to keep their playoff hopes alive. They're going to need to win out in order to even have a chance to make playoffs. So we'll see if they can string together some wins. But, you know, overall, good win. They looked better than they have recently, so I'll give them that.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with that. They did look a lot better tonight than they have all season. So, I mean, they're going to need it because they are an uphill climb to make playoffs. They're gonna need a lot of luck, and so we'll see where that goes. But with that, I mean, Week 15 is in the books, Dane.
Yep,
pretty good week.
It was definitely an exciting week for sure. Definitely one of the most wild weeks I've seen.
Yeah, a lot of surprises, a lot of upsets. A lot of overtime games, a lot of potential overtime games, but, you know, last second field goals here and there. But yeah,
wild lateral throws that just end in one of the funniest memes ever.
Yeah, and spoiler alert, that team has plummeted in my rankings. That was pathetic. But I think we should just get into
Let's do it. Let's get into the power rankings.
Week 16 power rankings, ladies and gentlemen. Let's do it, man.
Jake, I'll let you start it off. You can get it going with your 32 first and foremost.
All right. So, I mean, kind of same old story. The last 5, 32 through 28 are all the same teams. I just have a couple of switch ups. So last week I had the Texans 32. This week they're still 32, even though they have been playing, you know, their little hearts out the last 2 weeks. They still have the worst record. Can't take that away from them. But mine. So I'm just going to go to my 31. So 32, I have the Texans. 31, I have the Indianapolis Colts. I had them at 30. And with that, that was just terrible. I mean, you go up 36-0. If you're any sort of a good team, there's no way you let a team come back. I think Indianapolis is terrible. I think the defense is not good. I mean, it's got players, but I don't think they're good by any means. They need a lot. They need to figure it out because they're gonna get an early draft pick in this year's draft, and they're gonna have to figure out what they need. You know, is it weapons? Is it the quarterback? I mean, it's gonna be a quarterback. Like, let's be honest, Matt Ryan is not the answer. So we will see. But yeah, I got the Colts at 31.
All right. So at 32, I have Houston as well. Like you said, they've been playing their hearts out, but close isn't close enough. You got to come together and string some wins along. They're still a 1-win team, so I got to have them down here at 32. But I am impressed with the way that they've been playing these tougher opponents in the NFL. So good for them. 31, I have Chicago. I just dropped them one spot. I like Justin Fields. I really think that he's going to be a star in the making. I think that he just has to have the pieces with him to help him along. But unfortunately, they're not stringing together wins. So I have the Bears at 31.
All right. At 30, moving up one spot, I have the Denver Broncos for getting their first win in like 12 weeks, it feels like. Granted, they played a depleted Arizona Cardinals team, but you know what? They still have that good defense, and I just think the Colts and Texans are worse than them. Congratulations, you moved up one spot, Denver.
All right. At 30 for me, this is where I have Indianapolis. I have them dropping 2 spots, 33-point lead, and then they blow it after 2 quarters. They were still up, I think, over 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter, and then they still let it slide. So that's just embarrassing. I'm not surprised, though. It is Gus Bradley. I've watched him blow leads as a Chargers fan for a good portion of the Chargers 2016 to 2020 season. 19 season.
Emphasis on the word blow.
Yeah, blow. Like, just blown leads left and right. So, unfortunately, Gus Bradley is just known for blowing leads. Indianapolis's defense looked good, though. I like the way their defense played in the first half. I wish that they would have played kind of complete football in the second half. But, something to string your hat on is the defense, I guess. But yeah, Matt Ryan is definitely not the answer. So Indianapolis at 30 for me. At 29, this is where I have Arizona. I have the Cardinals dropping 3 spots. They are depleted, but that's kind of why I'm also dropping them. They don't have their second string quarterback, Colt McCoy, even got injured. So they're on their third string quarterback. They've got injuries to the offensive line, defense. They're just not stringing together wins. I feel like they're probably going to lose out at this point. I think it might be in their best interest. Fire the coach, fire the GM. I mean, the GM's already taken a leave of absence. So, they're probably going to get a new GM in there, new head coach. High draft capital. I mean, they have a potential lock in getting Jalen Carter, which would be phenomenal for this defensive front. So I know J.J. Watt's going to be a free agent next year, so they're going to have to figure some things out. But, yeah, I got Arizona down here at 29.
Right on. At 29, I have another NFC West team. I got the Los Angeles Rams. Yeah, I mean, they got that win last week, but again, just like the Cardinals, injuries, just really injuries. I mean, they just got decimated this year. And it's just, I really think the draft picks are hurting this team. I don't think they're not able to, build up that that depth. And they're not able to grow from the ground up. They're kind of just like, buying their players for a couple of years and then, rotating in and out. So I think it's just going to hurt them in the long run, which I think that's kind of a product of this year. Yeah, you know what I'm trying to say. But yeah, I got the Rams at 29. And then I got the Bears moving up 1 spot to 28. I really like the way they played against the Eagles. It was a close game. And I'm impressed with Justin Fields because I was about ready to write him off. I didn't have – it wasn't really more on him. It was mainly more on Chicago's inability to, get him pieces, work with his skill sets. But they proved me wrong, and they have – completely changed up their offense. They're utilizing his skill sets, and it's allowing him to thrive. So I like Justin Fields in the future, but still a bad team. So yeah, I got the Bears at 28.
Hello. Can you hear me now? Sorry, I was muted, everyone. At 28, this is where I have the Rams. I have them moving down to 1 spot. There's just, I mean, like Jake already said or mentioned earlier, they're officially eliminated from the playoff run. So season's pretty much over. It's just kind of playing upset at this point, hoping that you have some draft capital to build off of next year. We'll see who stays, if the coaching staff. I know Sean McVay's talking about possibly retiring. We'll see if that's actually factual because, I mean, he's in his 30s. So, I mean, that's pretty young for a head coach to retire. But we'll see. The Rams are kind of just dissipating with the injuries. They're decimated, so can't move up too much. 27, this is where I have Denver. I actually have them moving up 4 spots.
Wow.
Yeah, I think it's...
Pat yourself on the back, Dane.
I think it's... I think this is like the highest I've had them in, I think, 7 or 8 weeks, but I like this Denver defense. The Denver defense is still really freaking good. And the offense did enough without Russell Wilson to score over 24 points, which is, I think, the most they've scored. Or no, they actually scored a decent amount against Kansas City. But still, Denver, their offense looked decent against Arizona, even though Arizona is a depleted defense, a depleted team in general. Still, a win's a win, and I think they did more than the teams that are down below them. So Denver at 27.
All right. At 27, I have the Falcons staying put. They did lose. They look a lot worse with Desmond Ridder. I mean, it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to, I don't know, in an already struggling offense, kind of throw a rookie in there and expect anything more than what he showed on Sunday. Their run game is still pretty decent. They're just a bad team, though. But you know, they still have a chance to make playoffs. But yeah, I'm not gonna move him up and down just based on the fact or based on how the rest of his power rankings looks. So I'm just gonna keep him still at 27. At 26, dropping 2 spots, I have the Cardinals. Again, depleted team, missing Tyler, missing a bunch of pieces. I mean, they missed their best player for 6 games, so that really hurt them. Hollywood Brown has been hurt for a month or two. He's still kind of getting in the swing of things. I think the one good thing about this team is James Conner, and he's going to be a free agent next year, so we will see if he sticks around.
I don't understand why they got rid of Eno Benjamin. That makes no sense to me.
Well, that is weird, and another weird thing is that who picked him up? I think the Saints picked him up, and then they cut him. So, me personally, I think there has to be some kind of locker room issue. Yeah, with Eno Benjamin, because he was a decent running back, and you don't let go of
decent talent if there's not something wrong with him and other players. Yeah. That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah. So that's unfortunate. I don't even think he's on the team currently. We would probably have to look that up, but yeah, I mean the Cardinals just ever since they started 7-0 last year, from that moment on, it's just been downhill. Yeah. So. And it's carried into this season, which is a bummer if you're a Cardinals fan. But, yeah, I got the Cardinals at 26.
All right, at 26, this is where I have New Orleans. I have them moving up 3 spots. Decent game. I mean, it's kind of tough in this division. I mean, anyone can win. Alvin Kamara looked better. Andy Dalton had a couple good throws. Rashid Shaheed continues to impress me as a rookie wide receiver. I like his speed. I like his size. I like his hands. Chris Olave makes good plays. And the defense made a couple plays when they needed to. Still, it's not a very good team. I mean, their record shows that, but, they're in playoff contention because they could possibly win the division. They're 1 game out. So, yeah, I got New Orleans at 26. At 25, I have Carolina dropping 2 spots. We picked them to beat Pittsburgh, especially if Trubisky played, and they kind of fumbled it away. They just dropped the ball, just didn't play as well as I hoped, especially their defense. Their defense had been playing really well, and I think that they kind of, I don't know, I feel like they could have played better. But, I think Sam Darnold is playing a little bit better than he had. I like Chuba Hubbard. I think he's coming along nicely. So I think they got pieces, and they're still right in the thick of things in the NFC South because anyone can win that division. It's literally a 1-game break from 3 separate teams. So, yeah, I got Carolina at 25.
All right. At 25, I have the Saints. Yeah, it was a good win. We're talking about this division. I mean, I think it's between the Saints and the Bucks at this point. The Bucks, just because they're going to get lucky, I think. I don't think they're good. I don't think any of these teams are good team. I think the team with the most firepower, honestly, is the Saints. Just the way they use Taysom Hill. If Alvin Kamara can get it going, Chris Olave is, becoming probably one of the best, between him and Garrett Wilson, best rookie wide receivers. And then, if Andy Dalton just doesn't piss the game away, he's actually a pretty good quarterback, but that's if he doesn't piss the game away. But yeah, I mean, it's a toss-up, including this next team that I have at 24. Got them moving down 2 spots, the Panthers. Yeah, like Dane said, they pissed this game away. They could have easily won. Well, not easily, but I think that defense is better than what they showed on Sunday, and that's kind of why I think they have a potential to win this division. It's so hard to talk about this division. God damn.
Yeah, this is the NFC East, basically from 2020.
South. Oh, yeah.
I'm just saying, like the same scenario.
Yeah. So, I mean, man, but the Panthers are scrappy. They have more scrap in them, I think, than the Saints or the Falcons at this point, and the Bucks. I think they're kind of the most, overlooked team. So I think they have the chance to upset teams more than these other teams. But at 24, I got the Panthers.
All right, at 24, this is where I have Atlanta. I have them dropping 4 spots. They just continue to lose. like you said, Desmond Ridder didn't look good. It was his first game that he started. It was his first game that he played in the actual NFL season. Their defense can make plays. Their offense can make plays. Drake London's not bad. They got it going with Algier, Cordero Patterson. Like, they have a decent run game. It's just unfortunate. I think a lot of it is going to come down to coaching. Ultimately, I don't know how well this scheme works for them. Like, they had scrap, like you talked about earlier in the season. It kind of seems like it simmered down and just died. But yeah, Atlanta can still pull off an upset. They might even be able to win the division. I mean, like I said, there's 3 teams with the same record, and then the Bucks 1 game ahead. So this is still anyone's division to win. We'll see if Atlanta actually shows up next week. But yeah, Atlanta at 24, down 4 spots. At 23, this is where I have Pittsburgh. I have them moving up 2 spots. Good win. It was a competitive match. I was impressed with Trubisky. He didn't turn the ball over a lot, so that's good. And the defense looks solid, man. The defense makes plays. They're 6-8. They still have a chance to be above 500. So Mike Tomlin never has that losing record. We'll see if they can win out. But yeah, good win for Pitt. Have them at 23.
All right. At 23, I have another NFC South team, the last one that I have to talk about. I got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers dropping 2 spots. Terrible performance on Sunday. Absolutely terrible. I think this was the worst performance out of all 4 of the NFC South teams. And it's crazy because this is the best they looked in the first half, and then they pissed the game away. Oh, God damn. I don't even want to talk about this team anymore. 5 turnovers in a row. 5 drives, 5 turnovers in a row. There's something wrong. Brady... I mean, in the first half, they got it going. Like, it looked decent. Like, the run game was going. He was hitting Mike Evans, right in the breadbasket. He was hitting, Chris Godwin. But, I mean, they did it for half a game. So, and they let the Bengals beat them. So, it was pathetic. But I think this is a bad team. I got them at 23. And at 22, moving up 1 spot, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers. Yeah, good win for them. Against a scrappy little Panthers team. Not much to say. Good defense. They have a good defense. I think that's their obvious strength. And they have some pass catchers on that team. I just think it's, the quarterback play is subpar, but they'll figure it out. Give Kenny Pickett, get him healthy, give him another year in the offense, and we'll see what we got with him. But I got the Steelers at 22.
All right, just switch my pick because I have Tampa Bay at 22, so we can just switch our picks, vice versa. I have Tampa Bay dropping 3 spots to 22. It was disastrous. I mean, like Jake alluded to, they came out firing on all cylinders, looked the best they have all year in the first half, and then they pissed the game away. Brady and the offense just turned the ball over 5 separate times in the second half. You can't win if you turn the ball over that many times. It's just not going to happen. And, they got blown out in the second half, basically. I mean, it was like 34 unanswered points. So, unfortunate to see Tampa Bay and Brady in this situation. I like Brady as a competitor, as a player. I just, if they somehow win the division and host a playoff game for Wild Card Week, I think they get blown out. Because whoever's going to make playoffs, I think is going to have more fight in them, more competition. But who knows? Playoff Tom Brady is different, so maybe he'll show up. Maybe this offense could show up if they can win the division. But as of right now, they're a bad team, so I have them at 22, dropping 3 spots. At 21, moving up 3 spots, I have the Green Bay Packers. It was an impressive win over the Rams. The defense stepped up. The offense made plays when they needed to. Aaron Rodgers looked a little bit better. So I think that there's a slight glimmer of hope that this team can make playoffs. They have to win out, and they need help from other teams losing. So we'll see. But, Green Bay's going to be competitive. I think this is better than their offense has looked against a pretty decent defense, even though it's depleted without Aaron Donald. The Rams defense is still no joke. So moving up 3 spots, 21, Green Bay.
All right. Where did I leave off? 21. I have the Cleveland Browns moving up 4 spots. Really probably too much of a jump, but I mean, I think they're 6-8 as well. They have a glimmer of hope for playoffs. Deshaun Watson is trending towards the old Deshaun Watson. So that's good for Cleveland. I just want them to get their defense has been playing good. They played good against the Ravens. I want them to get that run. I mean, Nick Chubb did rush for almost 100 yards, but I want to see some Nick Chubb touchdowns. I want to see that dominant run game. I think they're kind of getting away from it with Deshaun Watson. But I mean, I get it. Like, they want to get him back into the swing of things, potentially make a playoff run. I don't see it happening, but they are technically in the hunt right now. But yeah, I mean, they beat a good defense in the Ravens. So, that's good for them. And they've beaten good teams, I guess. Like, they beat the Bengals. They beat the Bucs. I mean, when they were underdogs. So, yeah. I mean, the Browns are a weird team. They definitely have players on both sides of the ball. It's just, I don't know. I really don't know about that team right now. But, yeah, I got them at 21. And then for I think the biggest drop in my power rankings history since we started doing this, I have the New England Patriots at number 20, dropping 10 spots.
Hell yeah.
There's 7 and 8 right now.
7 and 7.
I thought there were 7 and 8. I thought there were 7 and 7 going into this week.
Are they 7 and 8? Let me look that up for you. Let me look that up for you really quick. Yeah, maybe you're right.
I think they're 7 and 8 because.
What the fuck, dude? My ESPN app loaded to week 3. What the hell?
Oh.
The New England Patriots are 7 and 7.
7 and 7. All right. Well, they still potentially have a chance to get a above 500 record, but again, this is why I have not been high on the Patriots at all this entire season. I mean, they moved up into the top 10 recently just because of that defense. The offense with Matt Patricia is just dismal. Mac Jones, he's very hot and cold. I think like when he has a good game, he has a good game. But when he has a bad game, it shows. And I think he has more bad games than good games. I think kind of that rookie magic. I mean, it is his second year, so there's usually that sophomore slump with quarterbacks. But I don't know. I think they lack talent on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, they have some talented running backs, but I think that's probably it. I don't know. This team
looks really good. I will say that.
Yeah. I mean, this team just pisses me off. Like, I think they try to get away with, finding talent like in the 6th round. Like, yeah, I get that, but like I think they bank on that instead of going out and getting a superstar when they can, really help their team. And it's just not working because, the magical days of Tom Brady are over. And I think they need to do something in the offseason because this team is just. But yeah, I got the Patriots at 20.
All right, at 20, this is where I have Cleveland. I have them moving up 2 spots. Good win over a division opponent. Defense stepped up. Offense did enough to win this game. I'm not going to go too in-depth. I think it was a good win for Cleveland, keeping their playoff hopes alive. At 19, this is where I have the Raiders. I have them moving up 2 spots as well. I think that they were kind of gifted this game in a way. Jake and I kind of talked about it a little bit last night. There were first and foremost, that lateral was a literal gift from God. Like, God literally had one of his angels deliver that ball to Chandler Jones. Like, there is no reason that ball should have even been lateraled from Ramondre Stevenson. I don't know what he was doing. And then Jacoby Myers decides, like, he doesn't know what's even happening. Backyard football takes over, and he tosses the ball 30 yards behind him right to Chandler Jones.
Can we – I don't think anybody's discussed this, but whose actual fault this entire thing is?
Bill Belichick. Yeah, you should have just taken a knee.
Yeah. He should have just told them, take a knee. Like, you have 10 seconds left. I think it was something like 10 seconds. It was not a lot of time. And come on, Bill. You're a Hall of Fame coach, probably the best of all time.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. I agree with that to a certain extent. There's no reason to run a play, especially since the call that they did run was a halfback draw. Like, you're obviously just trying to run out the clock, go to overtime. Why are you trying to make an all-star play? And then the pass from Jacoby Myers, why are you throwing it to one of the slowest players on the field in Mac Jones? Like, no offense, but Mac Jones isn't going to juke anyone out, and Chandler Jones is right there, and he gets palmed. Like, I can only imagine Mac Jones' face when he sees that ball going right to Chandler Jones. He's like, Jesus Christ, I literally just ran a halfback draw, and now you're going to have me get murdered out here? But, yeah. Raiders got gifted in that way, and then that questionable call with the toe on the sideline. But a win's a win.
That was,
maybe the camera angle makes things look better than it or worse than it actually is. I don't know. It looked pretty definitive to me, but either way, the Raiders got the win. It's in the win column. It's recorded, so nothing can change that now. So yeah, Raiders at 19.
Yep. At 19, I have the Green Bay Packers moving up one spot. They looked a little bit better this week. It was, granted it was against the Los Angeles Rams, who are just trying to figure it out, they're just trying to make it to the end of the season, honestly. But the Green Bay offense did look a little bit better. And they still have a chance to get in the playoffs. And at number 18, this one's a little hard for me because they're just on a losing streak and they're still 7-7. And I still believe in that defense, but they're on a losing streak and I had to drop them. I got the New York Jets at number 18. They had a good fight against the Detroit Lions, who's a very hot team. They almost won it. Unfortunately, that defense didn't step up when it mattered most. Jared Goff led that game-winning touchdown drive. But I think it's just the defense is nasty. The offense,
it's hindered by quarterback play, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, even Zach Wilson
didn't have a bad game by any means in comparison to himself.
He looked better this. Yeah, and they have pieces. I think, it's just we're going to have to see what Zach Wilson can do, and it's hard because this defense is playoff caliber, but this offense is still young and trying to figure it out because they have pieces, man. Like, what's his name? Garrett Wilson looks good.
Yeah.
He looks like a good wide receiver.
The Ohio State
Elijah Moore
look great. Him and Chris Olave.
Elijah Moore, he looks good. And then who did else they have? They have
Denzel Mims, but Mims just went out also with a concussion. Corey Davis.
Yes.
Is Conklin definitely tight end?
Yeah,
Conklin.
Yeah. So this is a young offense. This defense is just kind of ahead of its time, I think. Unfortunately for the Jets, I think maybe wait till next year when they'll get Breece Hall back. Hopefully, healthy 100%. Give Zach Wilson another year in the offense, or Mike White, whichever one. It's just it's unfortunate because this it's a great defense, but that offense is not there yet. I think they can be. It's just they need to figure it out. And then did I do number 19? I mean, did I do 2 already?
Who was your 19?
Packers.
Yeah, I think you did do 2. You just did 18, right? Was your Jets. All right, so for 18, this is another 7-7 team, but it is not the Jets for me. I have Seattle Seahawks. I have them dropping 3 spots. I have them here at 18. They played the best defense in the NFL, so they're going to make the 49ers are going to make a lot of teams' offenses look subpar. But, Seattle's just on a losing streak. They cooled off. I think they came back down to reality a little bit with Geno Smith. I don't think he's playing bad by any means. I mean, he definitely was playing better at the beginning of the season or in the middle of the season, I would say. But, the run game's not getting going with Kenneth Walker anymore. The defense is giving up a lot of rushing yards, a lot of passing yards. So the defense kind of cooled off. And I think that's the biggest storyline of why they've been losing these games recently is because during the month of, I think it was October, their defense was like top tier and all their rookies were performing outstandingly. So, Seattle's cooled off. I have them at 18. At 17, this is where I have the Washington Commanders. I have them dropping 3 spots. They should have won that game, or at least tied the game. They should have tied the game, in my opinion. Bad PI, no call, bad illegal formation where Terry McLaurin checks with the line judge, and the line judge, hey, you're all good, Fonz thumbs up, and then throws the flag anyway. So it's, I don't know. That game seemed a little bit, I don't want to say
suspicious.
Yeah, I don't want to say rigged because that's not proven, but there was something fishy about that game. It seemed like money had to have been on the line, in my opinion, because those were bad calls. Like, they were blatantly obvious no calls when they should have been. Like, it was like a full second before that should have been called for offensive or for defensive pass interference, which was not called. Granted, I will say the Giants defense did look good, especially Kayvon Thibodeau. So good for the Giants on that win. But yeah, Washington unfortunately falls in a game that I think should have gone to overtime. So Washington at 17.
All right. At 17, I have the Las Vegas Raiders moving up 2 spots. Good win. I mean, they're getting their pieces back. Hunter Renfrow, Matt Hollins. What's his name? Collins?
I think it's Hollins.
Mac Hollins. Devontae Adams, of course, and Darren Waller. So, and Josh Jacobs, like, they have pieces on offense. And the defense has been stepping up these last couple weeks, except for against the Rams. Yeah, I think it's just, they had that bad loss against the Rams, but it's still, they're playing good a little too late. And I still think, if they would have started off a little bit better, they'd be a playoff team. They have a chance, but it's very slim. But I mean, this team looks good when they're winning. So it's just the Derek Carr turnovers need to stop. He's looked a lot better. He just, he occasionally throws a pick or two. But yeah, I got the Raiders at 17, and at 16, dropping 1 spot, I have the Seattle Seahawks. 7-7, couple losses in a row. Definitely not as hot as they used to be, which, I can't say I'm mad about, but, yeah, I mean, at first, in the beginning, it sounds like, oh shit, like this division could come down to the wire. Like, I thought they were going to, keep pace with the 49ers, but no, they don't really scare me too much. Especially without that run game. I think this, some teams are just, predicated on the run, and Seattle, they're kind of like that. And if they don't get that run game, their offense falters. But Geno Smith has still been playing really good. So yeah, I think he's going to get comeback player of the year. He deserves it. He's a baller. And but we'll see what happens to the Seahawks, because they're fighting for their playoff lives.
That was 16 for you, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so yeah, here. 16, this is where I have New England. I have them dropping 3 spots. Probably the worst loss I've ever actually watched. Like, that was just pathetic in every sense of the word, like pathetic. It was just bad coaching decision, bad execution, bad decision on the throw. It was just bad. Like, you were going to overtime and you just pissed it away in one throw. So yeah,
I think it's more pathetic than, like, just getting blown out. Like,
yeah,
they lost that game, like, just on pure stupidity.
Agreed. So yeah, at 16, I have New England dropping 3. At 15, another team dropping 3 spots. I have Tennessee. They're on a losing streak. They played.
You said at 15?
15, yes.
Yeah, I also have the Titans at 15.
Yeah, so
dropping 4 spots.
Yeah, so it was a tough loss to the Chargers. They played them tough. They are decimated with injuries. Hopefully, none of them are too terribly serious. I know that they have had the most injured roster in the NFL, regardless of how long the player has been out. But, they kind of got away from the run. I think that they should have run against the Chargers a little bit more, especially since I'm a fan of the Chargers. I know how terrible the run defense is. I feel like the Chargers stepped up a little bit against the run, but you have Derrick Henry. He was going off. Use him in the screen game. So I kind of blame the coaching decision for the offensive play calling a little bit. But defense played tough. It was just he had 47 seconds left, 43 seconds left in the game, and the Chargers were able to throw a bunch, like 50, 60 yards on you. So bad loss, Tennessee at 15.
Yeah, I mean, I think the reason I dropped them so much is just they've lost 4 in a row now. They're only 1 game ahead in this terrible freaking division. I mean, this was the number 1 seed last year, and they just look bad, man. At times they look good, and then at times they look bad. And I just think other teams in their division, well, specifically my next team, the number 14 team, looks way better than them right now. Yeah, at number 14, moving up 3 spots, I have the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think that they're playing like the best team in the division. Trevor Lawrence has arrived. That defense is legit. Trevor Lawrence has weapons, and they're only going to get better. And this is the benefits of a good coach. You know, you get a good coach, it could turn everything around. You could have all the players in a row, and if you're coached shittedly, you could win 2 games. Or it's the opposite. You can have a great coach and have no players, and the same result can happen. You need both. You need players, and you need coaching. So the Jags look good, man, and they beat the number 2 defense. They put up 40 plus points on the number 2 defense. Like that's legit. And I think the Cowboys defense, like the way I think they're better. The one thing they're better at is creating turnovers, I think, than the 49ers defense. And they got some turnovers, but I don't know. The Jags just look really, really good against a really good defense, and I like it. I'm a big Trevor Lawrence fan, and I'm here for it. So, yeah, I got the Jags at 14.
All right, cool. 14, this is where I have the Jets. I have the Jets dropping 3 spots in my power rankings. Tough loss, like you've already talked and mentioned and touched on, Jake, is that the Jets' defense is legit. It's unfortunate to see them drop so many games because they have been playing really well on the defensive side of the ball. Offense needs to step it up a little bit. I think that they have a chance to win a couple more games, possibly make a playoff push as the number 7 seed. But we'll see. Jets at 14. At 13, moving up 3 spots, I have the New York Giants. That was an impressive win against the Washington Commanders, kind of gifted a little bit. But even if the game ended in a tie because of the blown call, they still had an opportunity to win it in the overtime. Either way, I think the New York Giants defense did play really well. Offense did enough. Saquon looked good. Daniel Jones made a couple plays here and there. But yeah, Kayvon Thibodeau has arrived. I loved watching him play at Oregon and seeing him finally have that breakout game that, honored his number 5 overall pick in the NFL draft, kind of showed why he was taken there. So I loved watching the defense. Good win. They finally broke that losing streak. So Giants at 13.
Right on. At number 13, I have the Washington Commanders. They're still, currently in the playoff hunt. They were, before last week, looked good. I mean, they were trending in the right direction, beat some good teams, or beat some good quarterbacks, whatever. The defense, has been playing good. They played pretty good against the Giants. It's just that offense. Hold on one second.
Jake's having a little cough break. You good?
Sorry about that. Got something in my throat. But yeah, the Commanders I think they played a bad game, so I'm not gonna, punish them too much. I still think this is probably out of the NFC, them and the Lions, I think those 2 teams are probably that deserving of the 7 seed the most. So we will see, what happens will happen, but hopefully they can piece together some pieces or piece together some wins.
Piece together some pieces.
Yes, sir. But I like Tanner Heineke. I think he's the best thing for this team. So, I hope he continues to ball out. And then at number 12, moving up 6 spots, I have the Giants. They're back into the playoff hunt. They're the number 5 seed or 6 seed, I believe. And, Yeah, I mean, they were trending in the wrong direction, but they needed that win. The defense looked good, even though I thought they were like a higher ranked defense. I guess they're like kind of like a bottom 10 defense. I didn't know that. To me, they look good at times. Maybe it was just Kayvon Thibodeau because he looked like a baller. Like he was everywhere. Like honestly, it looked like he was playing. He was like Micah Parsons.
Yeah,
the way he was playing, like just everywhere on the line. It looked like he was playing cornerback at times.
Yeah, I mean, he was covering a receiver in the end zone and still ended up making the stop on the 1 yard line, like making the tackle on Taylor Heineke. It was an awesome play, the strip sack.
Yeah,
just phenomenal play from him.
Yeah, he's definitely balling out. It's kind of a little late. I don't think he's going to win defensive rookie of the year.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
But maybe he could just close out. You know what's even more important is helping your team get the playoffs. So if he continues to ball out like that, that defense has a new element because they already had a decent defense. And if Kayvon Thibodeau can step up and just become a record of things, watch out for the Giants. But it was a good win against a decent team, I think.
Agreed. At 12, this is where I have the Jacksonville Jaguars. I have them moving up 5 spots in my power rankings. Good comeback win against Dallas. It looked like it might get a little bit ugly in the first half. Trevor Lawrence is playing phenomenally this last month. The receiving core is Zay Jones, Christian Kirk, Evan Ingram, Travis Etienne out of the backfield. They're all looking good. It looks like a good cohesive unit. They look like they're playing off of each other's momentum. Big plays. Defense steps up when they need to. Big takeaways. Rashawn Jenkins had a great game. So, the Jags are well coached right now, and they had a little bit of a roller coaster season so far. Like they had kind of a steady, went up, went down, and they're trending back up. So if they keep trending back up right now, I think that they have a potential to win the division. They play the Tennessee Titans last game of the season. So if they win out, mark my words, the Jags will make it and win the division of the AFC South and host either the Chargers or someone else in the 6th, 7th seed. But yeah, we'll see. It's exciting. I like watching the Jags play right now. So Jags at 12. At 11, this is where I...
Real quick, Dane.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just want to interject. It's crazy because the Jags are trending up and the Titans are trending down.
Yeah.
I mean, you need luck in this game. Yes, you want to be good, but sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. And they're definitely getting luck with the Titans just faltering. So I'm rooting for the Jags. But sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good, man. At 11, this is where I have Miami. I only dropped them 1 spot because it was an impressive battle. They played a lot better than I expected against a good Buffalo Bills team, especially in Buffalo, in the snow, in the freezing temperature. Didn't seem to affect Tua too much. There were a couple throws that I'm sure he wished he had back. But overall, I think this team played with their heart. Like, they put their heart on the line, and they balled out. They almost won this game. They took the lead, and then they kind of blew it at the end. But, I was impressed. They kind of got back to their bread and butter. Their offense looked a lot better than they did against the 49ers and Chargers. So, yeah, I have Miami moving up or down 1 spot at 11.
All right. At 11, I have the Baltimore Ravens dropping 2 spots. It's kind of just, they proved me right. They proved us right, kind of with this last game. I was wondering what this team would do without Lamar. Granted, they still had that run game with J.K. Dobbins, which is good for them. But no offense to Tyler Huntley, but you're not Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson is one of a kind, and this team is based around Lamar. And without Lamar, it's just a completely different team. And, the defense looks pretty good. I think they got banged up. I think they got a couple injuries in this last game against the Browns. But, they're a 9-win team. So, they're still in playoffs pretty firmly. I think they're the division leader. Or are the Bengals?
No, the Bengals are the division leader at 10-4.
Oh, okay. So, they're 1 game behind the Bengals.
They are the number 5. What happens. They are the number 5 seed, though.
Yeah, so they're kind of trending in the wrong direction for me personally.
Same.
But if they can get Lamar back, he can definitely change the trajectory for this team because he's one of a kind. I love Lamar Jackson, but they're just a different team without him. And then at number 10, I have the Dolphins dropping one spot. Like you said, they played their little hearts out against the Buffalo Bills. They're a good team. It's just I think the Bills are a better team. Unfortunate for them. I think it's kind of a Chargers Chiefs kind of situation. You know, the Chargers, in my opinion, are a good team, but the Chiefs are a better team.
Right.
It's kind of it's there's always that one team that's going to play little brother to the big brother, and unfortunately for the Dolphins, they're the little brother to the Bills right now. Even though they beat them, I still think they're the little brother. Even though they beat them earlier in the season, I think the Bills are a better team. But they did look a lot better. And I think they can easily make playoffs. I think they're still in playoffs currently. But they looked a lot better this week, like you said, than the other last 2 weeks. But yeah, I got the Dolphins at number 10.
All right. At number 10, this is my biggest jump of the week. It's the Los Angeles Chargers. I have them moving up 8 spots because I'm biased as fuck.
To what, number 10?
To number 10.
You are biased?
Yeah, I have them moving up 8 spots because I'm biased as fuck. Deal with it. But in all seriousness, I moved them up this way or this much, mostly because of the other teams that have been losing or winning. Plus, their defense has been looking better the last couple weeks. I feel like they're kind of playing more cohesively. The defensive unit's kind of getting things going, preventing as many explosive runs. They haven't really allowed a huge run over 20-plus yards the last couple weeks, which I appreciate dearly because watching that broke my heart multiple times. But I still think that there are limitations to this offense due to the offensive scheme and the coaching decisions by Joe Lombardi. I wish that they would just let Justin Herbert go and do his own thing because we see when he's on the run, he throws a dart, a piss missile, 40 yards to Mike Williams when he's fully covered. So it's like
a piss missile.
A piss missile, yeah. Just let him sling it. Just let him do his thing, Joe. Come on, like coach him to be himself. Don't coach him to be Drew Brees. That's my biggest knock on this offense. Like they get to the red zone sometimes, they can move the ball sometimes, but then they have these little dink and dunk passes that I hate. I hate watching it. You have one of the biggest arms, one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL right now. Unleash and unlock Justin Herbert. Let him do his thing. But I still think that they're on a winning streak right now. Granted, it's only a 2-game winning streak, but it's against 2 playoff caliber teams. So, good for the Chargers having them moving up 8 spots.
Who do you have at number 9?
At number 9, this is where I have Baltimore. I have them dropping 2 spots. They are 9-5, so they are still in playoffs right now. Like you already said, Jake, I am kind of down on them a little bit. They are trending downwards for me just because of the health of the team and mostly the offense. I think the defense can still do enough to keep them in games. I don't think the defense is going to do enough to win them games. So I think that they can prevent teams from like blowing them out of the water. But if the offense can't keep up, then the defense is going to be out there. They're going to get gassed. They're not going to be able to hold teams down for too terribly long. So unfortunately, Baltimore needs to figure out the offense. Lamar needs to get back out there. So yeah, Baltimore at 9.
All right. I like it. I am not biased as fuck like Dane, but at number 9, I have the Los Angeles Chargers moving up 4 spots. I like it. I like what they've been doing these last 2 weeks. Granted, the Titans are trending in the wrong direction, but I still think, deep down inside, that is a good team that they just beat. That's a good team that's a good running back that they, he ran, but he didn't go crazy on them. And that's kind of what you have to do against that team. Limit the 222 yards, 3 touchdowns for Derrick Henry. But the Chargers have been playing good somehow, and they beat the Dolphins. The Dolphins are a good team. Let's not get that wrong. And they lock them up, bro. And the best thing about this team is they're getting healthy. Mm-hmm. They're getting their weapons back on offense. And, I mean, my personal opinion, I think, Justin Herbert is a young quarterback. I still think he's great, but he needs his weapons. And, he likes to throw that 50-50 ball to Mike. He loves Keenan Allen. That's his best friend. Without Keenan Allen, he's just a completely different quarterback, I think. And, he's got Austin Eckler. I like this team on offense. I've liked this. They were my number 3 or 4 team at the beginning of the season for a reason. I like it. And they're, for however hurt they were or are, they're getting healthy and they have a good record. They're what,
8-6.
What are they?
8-6.
8-6. That's a great record, man. They control their own destiny. They just win a couple more games, get a higher seed, maybe. I don't know.
So
I look for
if the Chargers win this coming week, and then the Jets, Patriots, and I think the Dolphins or someone. It was one. There has to be 3 teams. I know the Jets and Patriots for sure. But if there's a third team, if they all lose and the Chargers win, then the Chargers automatically lock a playoff berth for the first time in 4 years, which would be awesome.
Hell yeah! See, I mean, never give up. The Chargers, this is what makes teams strong is adversity. So I like this team right now. And number 8, moving up 8 spots. My second biggest jump of the week. I got the Detroit Lions.
Hell
baby.
yeah, baby!
I
have Detroit at 8 also, baby.
I was okay. So I didn't want to jump the gun for the Detroit Lions. They are 7-7, folks. 7-7.
They've won 6 of their last 7 games.
Gold.
Yeah.
It is raining gold in Detroit, Michigan. If you're a Detroit fan, you can't help but smile right now. If you're an NFL fan, you can't help but smile.
Hell yeah, baby.
I'm rooting hard for the Detroit Lions. Obviously I'm rooting for the 49ers. That's my team. But if, knock on wood, if they get eliminated, I'm rooting for I'm even rooting for the Detroit Lions to make the playoffs because they're just going to make the playoffs that much more exciting.
Hell yeah, baby.
And that offense is, they played a good defense against the Jets, and they proved that they can score. They proved that they can win. Jared Goff is having probably his best season of his career. I mean, he's a veteran quarterback. He's been to the Super Bowl. He's been on winning teams, or he's been on a championship team. Well, he's been on a Super Bowl team. Sorry. And Dan Campbell, he's a great coach. He's got these boys fighting. They have weapons all over the place. The defense has been stepping up. And the crazy thing is they have a top 10 draft pick this year.
Yeah.
And they're going to probably make playoffs. I mean, knock on wood, they're fighting for playoffs. So, yeah, man, I'm all on board on the hype train. I love the Lions right now. They are scorching red hot, like
piping. You can't even touch it. It's so hot.
You can't even look at it, dude. It's so hot.
Dude, I couldn't have said anything better. I'm right there with everything you just said about Detroit. I only have them moving up 1 spot because I was higher on them last week than you were. But, Detroit has arrived, and it is about time. Give the people of Detroit something to root for. Like, good God. It's about freaking time. And, there were a couple years with Stafford and Megatron. Those years were some of the best years to be a Detroit fan. Those were exciting years. Didn't unfortunately do too much in playoffs, but I love the way this team.
Nothing.
Yeah, I love the way this team's playing. Keep fighting, win out. I think that has to be the goal, is to win out, because I think that's the only way. I mean, they might be able to lose one more game, but I think the mindset has to be you win out and you're in. I think that's the chance.
Yeah, I mean, I think if the Seahawks, Commanders, I think if they lose a couple more games, then the Lions are sitting pretty.
So if the Lions win this next week and Washington and Seattle both lose, they now take the number 7 seed.
Oh yeah, awesome. I like it. I'm here for it, man. I'm definitely rooting for the Lions. And honestly, I would not want to face this team in playoffs. Like, this team's scary. They're scary right now.
They're hitting people in the mouth. Like, they are a physical football team, which is what I love to see. They play with fucking passion.
And the best thing about this team is it's built from the ground up.
Yep.
They didn't go out and buy, top free agents. They didn't give the free agents millions of dollars. I am sliding the Rams a little bit here, but this is what happens when you build a team through the draft, through free agency, and you build it from the ground up. You get to see it rise from nothing, and that's what you're witnessing right now with the Detroit Lions. I just get excited talking about
dude,
them,
I do
honestly.
too. And it's crazy to think that there's a possibility that a team that started off 1-6 ends up making the playoffs. I don't know if that's ever been done. I'm sure it has, but the chances of it happening are very improbable. So good job for Detroit. I have them at 8 as well. At 7, who do you have, Jake?
At 7, moving down one spot because honestly, they should have won, but they didn't. I got the Dallas Cowboys.
I have Dallas at 7 as well. I have them
right on.
2 spots,
Yeah, I think they definitely didn't respect Jacksonville. They didn't respect that defense. They didn't respect that offense, and Jacksonville hit them in the mouth. I still think this is a good Cowboys team, but it's times like this where you start to wonder: are the Cowboys? Is it really their year? Are they really them boys?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is they're like the Vikings to me. Just kind of, I don't know. They scare me. They scare me in the playoffs. So, yeah, I got the Cowboys at number 7.
All right. At 6, this is where I have Minnesota. Jake and I have had both.
Same.
Okay, so we've had 3 in a row now. That's 3 in a row. We have 8, 7, and 6 all the time. Yeah, we've talked about Minnesota a lot on this podcast. I think Jake is a little bit more critical of them, and I respect his opinion on that because I think a lot of people are critical of this team. I'm a little bit more optimistic than most, I would say. I do have my worries and concerns, just like everyone else that is critical of this team in the playoffs and what they can actually do in a postseason run. But this is the greatest comeback in NFL history. It's very hard to go down 33-0 and then come back and win this game in one half. So that's impressive in itself. They shouldn't have even been down by 33. It was a complete meltdown disaster in the first half, offensively speaking. Indianapolis smacked them in the mouth, and they ended up coming back and winning. So it was impressive. Kirk Cousins didn't look good in the first half, and in the second half he went freaking Super Saiyan. So good for Minnesota, man. They're going to playoffs. We'll see. Anything can happen in playoffs. That's the thing. Like even
Sure.
anything can happen. We'll see. But yeah, Minnesota at 6.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like this team, I toe the line of this team is good. This team is bad. They definitely have pieces on both sides of the ball. Like they definitely do. Like they should have a top tier defense or at least a middle of the pack defense. They do not. They should have. I mean, they have. I mean, you guys know what's on their offense: Justin Jefferson, Dalvin Cook. It's just sometimes they just hit the floor face first, and it scares me. And it really it just takes me back to their 2 losses or their 3 losses. Well, they're 3.
I think they have 3 losses.
Yeah, their loss against Detroit. I think they just played a good team. Well, they played all good teams in their losses, but they got blown out in their first 2, and it just scares me for playoffs. Like I want to believe in the Vikings, I really do. It's just when you get blown out like that, when you have to come back 33-0 to a team that has 4 wins, people are going to question your team. I mean, good job for not giving up, obviously. Like, all that matters is the win. But, I mean, I just think this team doesn't show up at times. I think they can. I definitely think they can win a playoff game, but will they show up? And it's, we won't know until it happens. So, they just make me nervous. I wouldn't bet on them at all. But I still like them. I still want them to win.
And thank you for winning us jerseys, Minnesota. We really appreciate you. We put our money in you.
Yes,
we
sir.
Put our faith in you. Good.
Yes, sir.
Good preseason prediction by Jake and I. We predicted. If you guys don't know, the reason why we're excited about getting jerseys because of Minnesota is we made a bet with our friend Zach Bachman, friend of the pod. Basically bet that Minnesota would have more wins by the end of the season than New England. And with New England's loss and Minnesota's win, it's impossible for New England to now catch Minnesota. So good job, Minnesota. Thank you for winning us jerseys, Zach. We want our jerseys, bro. We freaking want them.
And I made a double bet because when I made the bet, I was there with my friend Casey Boyd, friend of the pod, and Zach Bachman, friend of the pod. And, I'm going to get 2 jerseys out of this bet. So I'm pretty excited.
Hell yeah.
But did you do your number 5?
No, at number 5, I have Cincinnati.
Same.
Dude, that's 4 in a row. I had a feeling we'd have the okay. Things are heating up. Jake and our power rankings are kind of coming together, especially near the top. We're kind of having some cohesiveness together, and I like that. Cincinnati had a great comeback win. I think the difference between them and Minnesota is I think Cincinnati's just a much more complete team because I like Cincinnati's defense more than I like Minnesota's. But both offenses stepped up. They both got smacked in the mouth by a subpar team, in my opinion. But Cincinnati and Minnesota, 6-5, 5-6. You could interlock them. You could swap them if you wanted to, I'm sure. But yeah, both these teams are good. I just have more faith in Cincinnati in the postseason since they did win the AFC last year. So Cincinnati, good win. They're 10-4, good record. Joe Burrow looks great. Defense looked good. Not much more to say about Cincinnati than I like them.
Yeah, I just want to say, if I had to base this off quarterbacks, I'm going Joe Burrow. The man's got ice in his veins. And Kirk Cousins, at least in primetime, has proven that he does not. Except for one game, I think. But it's just hard. These teams are similar, I think. And the Bengals are they lost some pieces on their D-line, which might hurt them. But I still like this team. They tons of firepower all over the place. And Joe Burrow is just disgustingly good. All right, number 4. Are we going to have 5 in a row?
Let's see.
I have the Kansas City Chiefs.
I have the Chiefs as well. I have the Chiefs at 4 as well.
Yeah, I dropped them 2 spots.
Should have been a more dominant win against Houston.
Yes, and it wasn't even that. It was that, but it was also the time management at the end when they played for the field goal. I don't like that. You play to win the game, and you have one of the top offenses in the league. You have one of the top offensive-minded coaches in the league. Get that dub. Get that touchdown. Don't put that and Harrison Butker was shaky all day that game. So I don't like that. So I had to drop them. Other teams play better than them.
Yeah, I didn't even drop Kansas City. I just kept them right at 4. I had them 4 last week. They're still probably the best team in the AFC, in my opinion. Them and the Bills. I have the. All right, let's just get to 3. Do you have Buffalo at 3?
Yes, sir.
Hey, baby. All right, so yeah.
So we obviously have 1, 2. We have 8 in a row.
Yeah,
to finish our rankings.
Yep. And then Philadelphia 1. So yeah, Jake and I have the last 8 picks all in line with each other, which is great. But Kansas City, I think they play Buffalo well. Whenever they play Buffalo, they match up well. But I think I don't know. It's tough, man. Both these teams are neck and neck. That's why they're 3-4 in my rankings. That's why they're 3-4 in your rankings. But yeah, I have Kansas City 4, Buffalo 3, San Francisco, who was dominant against Seattle. They're dominant against any offense that they face. This is the best defense I've seen in probably a decade. In all honesty, I haven't seen a defense this dominant. Like you said, maybe they don't get as many turnovers as some defenses, but they just shut down teams. They just do not allow yards to happen. They lock down teams, especially in the second half. Their second half statistics are off the charts. And, the scheme offensively is going to help Brock Purdy, and this offense has weapons everywhere. So, yeah, they're at 2. And then Philadelphia, they just continue to roll. A little close with Chicago, but there were close teams with some of the top teams. Kansas City had an overtime win over the worst team in the NFL. Minnesota was getting blown out by a 4-1 team, like you alluded to. Cincinnati was losing 17-0 at one point by a shit-ass Tampa Bay team. So just a weird week in the NFL, in my opinion. But, the good teams ended up winning, so that's why they're staying put in my rankings.
Yeah, for me, the top 4, it was it's all based on your performance. If it was dominant, and that's kind of how I moved up and down these teams. Right now, I think the Eagles and the 49ers are the best teams in the NFL.
Agreed.
I think as far as complete teams, I think they're the best teams in the NFL. I think, possibly the Chiefs and the Bills have a better offense than the 49ers, just because, we still got a rookie quarterback back there. It's going to be interesting to see what he can do at playoff time. But yeah, I mean, these top 5 teams, I really could interchange. They all have, I think the top 5 all have legit opportunity to go to the Super Bowls or to the Super Bowl. Man, I can't wait to playoff time.
Yep. Agreed, guys. Well,
let's wrap this up because I am about to piss my pants.
Really quick, Jake, before we wrap this up, we're done with the power rankings. Really quick, guys, we're just going to go over week 16 Thursday night. This is a great game, by the way. Thursday night, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars, red hot, traveling to a cooling down New York Jets, but still a solid team in New York, by the way, so it might be cold. Who do you got, Jake?
God damn, dude.
This is a good matchup.
How many of the Jets? Yeah, this is a good matchup. How many losses do the Jets have?
So the Jets in a row. Let me look that up for you really quick. I'm not entirely sure how many they've lost in a row.
I just want to remind everyone we did really good in our picks last week. So
we both had the same amount of picks.
Maybe
correct.
You guys should start believing us a little bit.
We differed on 4 games, and we still had the same amount correct. Right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. God damn, it's hard to think. I really have to piss.
Okay, so they have lost 3 in a row. They've lost 4 of their last 5. The only win that they have was against Chicago week 12. They lost to New England the week prior, then they lost to Minnesota the next week, they lost to Buffalo, and then they lost to Detroit. So they are playing good teams. Like the teams that they've lost to are all really good teams right now. So it's kind of hard to doubt them too much. And the one win that they had against Chicago, they won 31-10. So they won that handedly.
My head. Actually, what is my head saying? I think my head is saying New York. My head is saying New York because, they've lost 3 in a row. This is still a good defense. But my heart is saying Jacksonville, man.
Do you want me to start this one off?
Yeah, this one's hard, man.
I'm going with the Jags, and here's the reason. They're hot. I don't care about weather because I think Miami proved that weather is not the end-all be-all for warm weather teams, especially Florida teams. Jags are hot. Trevor Lawrence is playing phenomenally the last month, and the Jags defense can step up, especially against Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson's going to be the starter. I'm 99% sure because apparently he actually does have broken ribs, and 10 doctors told him that they were not going to clear him. So I don't expect Mike White to be out there after breaking ribs after 1 week off. So if Zach Wilson's out there, I think the Jags are going to do enough to intercept him because they did a good job against Dak. I like the way the Jags are playing. Plus, I kind of need the Jags to beat the Jets in order for the Chargers to make the playoffs or have a better hope of making the playoffs. So I'm going Jacksonville. Who do you got?
Well, if Mike White is out, I'm definitely going to go Jacksonville. I think the Jags have a far superior defense than the Detroit Lions. Granted, the Detroit Lions, not trying to slight you guys, but, still bottom tier. But you guys have been stepping up these last couple of weeks. I still don't trust Zach Wilson at all. And I think the reason he had a decent game was because Detroit has a subpar defense. Jacksonville does not. I got Jacksonville as well.
Alrighty, guys. That's going to do it for this episode. Thank you for listening. Like, comment, subscribe. You know the drill. Peace.
Thank you for listening. And as always, peace.